The first time Commander Elias Vance met the alien princess, she was dying. Not metaphorically, not dramatically, actually dying. The Royal Medbay aboard the Zytherian starcruiser Celestial Radiance was silent except for the steady pulse of emergency monitors. Soft violet light shimmered across the walls, reflecting off crystalline medical instruments that hovered in midair. Princess Elithra of Zythera lay motionless inside a translucent healing pod. Her silver skin had faded to a pale, unstable hue. Energy patterns beneath her surface flickered like a failing star. Zytherians were one of the most advanced civilizations in the quadrant. Their technology could rebuild shattered planets, stabilize dying suns, and extend life for centuries. But it could not save her. A rare genetic collapse was consuming her cellular structure. Their scientists had tried everything. Nothing worked. And without her, the political balance of the Zytherian Empire would fracture into civil war. Elias stood near the entrance, still wearing his human tactical uniform. He had been assigned to the diplomatic escort mission only days earlier. He wasn't supposed to be here. He was a security officer, not a physician, not a scientist. But when the princess collapsed during the peace summit, protocol demanded immediate action, and Elias had been the closest compatible biological match available for emergency stabilization. Zytherian biology was not identical to human biology, but it was close enough in certain core elements. Close enough for experimentation. The lead alien medic turned toward him. Our scans indicate your species possesses compatible regenerative properties. Elias raised an eyebrow. Meaning? You may be able to provide biological material to stabilize her system. He glanced at the unconscious princess. And if I refuse? The medic hesitated. She will expire within hours. Silence filled the chamber. Elias exhaled slowly. How much are we talking about? The medic activated a holographic display. 1 controlled blood donation. The Zytherians did not believe in emotional persuasion. They dealt in logic. Probability. Survival. Elias nodded. Do it. The decision. The procedure was simple. A small sterile chamber. Advanced extraction equipment. No pain. Just data. As he lay on the medical table, monitors connected to his arm, he watched the princess through the transparent wall. She looked peaceful. Too peaceful. 1 drop of human blood. That's what they needed. Not a transfusion. Not a full exchange. Just a single sample to test compatibility. The medics began the process. Within seconds, the blood was transferred into a microscopic synthesis chamber. It glowed faintly as Zytherian bioengineers infused it into a stabilization serum. The results were immediate. The princess's energy reading shifted. Her cellular collapse slowed, then stabilized. The entire room went silent. That should not be possible, one medic whispered. But the data confirmed it. Human blood contained a rare regenerative protein structure that interacted with Zytherian genetics in a way no one had predicted. It didn't just slow the collapse. It corrected it. The princess's vital signs strengthened. Color returned to her skin. Her breathing stabilized. Elias sat up slowly. So, she's okay? The lead medic stared at the monitor. Yes. A pause. Then another statement. She will live. The awakening. Hours later, Princess Elithra opened her eyes. The first thing she saw was the ceiling of the medbay. The second thing she saw was him. Elias stood near the pod, speaking quietly with the medical team. When she moved slightly, the monitors beeped. He turned immediately. Hey, he said gently. Welcome back. Her violet eyes focused on him. You are human. Guilty. She tried to sit up, but paused. Why am I alive? The medic explained briefly. Elias stepped back, allowing the professionals to speak. When the explanation ended, The princess looked toward him again. You donated your blood. Just a sample, he corrected. You risked yourself. It was low risk. She studied him carefully. Cytherians did not experience gratitude the way humans did. Their society functioned on obligation and mutual survival. But something in her expression changed. You saved my life. Elias shrugged slightly. Looks like your tech did most of the work. No, she said softly. It was your biology. Silence settled between them. She slowly extended her hand. The gesture was deliberate. Formal. By Cytherian law, life debt is binding. Elias blinked. Life debt. Yes. She looked directly into his eyes. One who saves a royal life becomes permanently recognized as protector of the crown. The room went quiet. Elias glanced at the medics. They nodded. It was ancient protocol. He cleared his throat. Is that optional? She considered. No. Political shockwaves. Within hours, news spread across the empire. The human soldier who saved the princess. The blood that healed her. The life debt bond. Certain factions reacted immediately. Some saw it as weakness. Others saw opportunity. If a human could influence the royal bloodline, perhaps humanity could gain political leverage. Elias found himself escorted to a private chamber. Not as a prisoner, but as a guest. Princess Elithra entered shortly after. She no longer looked fragile. Her strength had returned, but her demeanor had changed. You could have refused, she said. I know. Why didn't you? Elias leaned against the window, overlooking the stars. Because you were dying. That is not a sufficient answer. He smiled faintly. It was for me. She stepped closer. Explain. He paused. Sometimes you don't need reasons bigger than that. She processed the statement carefully. Cytherians valued logic above all. But this was something different. Personal choice. Compassion without negotiation. You risked your species' diplomatic neutrality, she said. Didn't think that far ahead. Her gaze softened slightly. Human courage is inefficient. Yeah, he admitted. But it works sometimes. The unexpected bond. Days passed. Then weeks. The princess insisted Elias remain near her during recovery. Not as a guard, but as a consultant. Her advisors objected. The bond between them was unusual, possibly dangerous. But she overruled them. One evening, while observing tactical star maps, she turned to him. Your blood altered more than my biology. Oh. It created a persistent molecular link. Elias frowned. Meaning? Our systems detect your biological signature within mine. He blinked. So, like a trace? Yes. She hesitated. It is stable. That's good, right? She met his eyes. In Cytherian culture, such a bond is considered permanent. Elias exhaled slowly. Permanent how? She stepped closer. Our destinies are now intertwined. The words were not romantic. They were factual, but the implication carried weight. The threat emerges. Political tensions escalated. A radical faction within the empire believed the princess had been compromised. They claimed human influence endangered sovereignty. An assassination attempt followed. A sabotage device detonated near the royal chamber. Security forces reacted swiftly. But it was Elias who noticed something unusual in the explosion pattern. The device was designed not to kill, but to destabilize the princess's energy signature again. Whoever planned it knew about her condition, and knew about him. The life bond made her vulnerable. If he were harmed, the connection could destabilize her restored cellular structure. The attacker targeted both. Elias and the princess worked together to trace the source. Using combined human tactical reasoning and Cytherian data analysis, they uncovered the conspirators. Members of the Royal Advisory Council. They feared the bond represented political dependency. The princess confronted them directly. In a formal tribunal, she declared, the human did not weaken the empire. She paused. He strengthened it.
Her voice was calm,
unshaken. He acted without expectation of reward. Elias stood beside her. I just did what anyone would have done. The hall remained silent, because among Zytherians, that was not true. Most species calculated risk before action. Humans sometimes acted first, calculated later.
acceptance.
The conspiracy dissolved. Reforms followed. Human-Zytherian relations improved dramatically. Elias was formally recognized as royal protector,
But he did not change.
he remained humble, still wearing standard uniform, still speaking casually. One evening, the princess joined him on the observation deck. The stars reflected in the glass. You do not seek power, she said. Nope. Fame. Not really. Influence. He shook his head. I just want to know I help. She studied him for a long time. In saving me, you changed the trajectory of 2 civilizations. He smiled slightly. That sounds dramatic. It is factual. She stepped closer. Our bond is not merely biological. Oh, it is now strategic. He raised an eyebrow. That sounds less romantic. She tilted her head. I did not intend romance. He paused. But her violet eyes softened. But the bond has emotional implications. Elias looked surprised. For you? Yes. She spoke carefully. In Zytherian society, connection is rare. And you chose to give without demand. Silence. Then she added quietly. That altered me. The final understanding. Months later, peace treaties were signed between humanity and Zythera, not because of politics alone, but because of trust. One drop of human blood had healed a princess. But more importantly, it had bridged 2 worlds. Elias stood beside her during the ceremony. When reporters asked about their bond, he responded simply, it started with medicine. Princess Elithra added. It evolved into partnership. They exchanged a glance. Not dramatic, not exaggerated, but understanding. The empire had expected dependency. Instead, they discovered collaboration. The princess's life was secure. The bond remained stable. And somewhere in the genetic code shared between them, something remarkable persisted. Not control, not obligation, but choice. One drop of human blood had saved her. But it was their decision to honor that connection that bound their destinies. Not as ruler and subject, not as alien and human, but as 2 individuals who understood that survival sometimes begins with a single act of compassion. And in the vast silence of space, that was enough.